Hi, Dr. Cook. So, to make up for missing our meeting on Tuesday, I thought I would just go ahead and record an explanation of my presentation, in addition to sending you the reflection. So, I hope that you forgive me. I just forgot. Seriously, just forgot. Okay, so the title of my work is The Take Back, and I have a quote from 1984 by George Orwell on the front of the front cover. Until they became conscious, they will never rebel, and until after they have rebelled, they cannot become conscious. I chose that quote because, as you'll see in the end, the teacher becomes conscious again. So the first real page of my graphic narrative starts with the setting at USA High. If you notice, it's generic. It is intended to have a generic name, just any general United States of America high school. And then within the school, this is the first picture, and it's the unenlightened or the consumed teacher. And it starts with her saying, if you can't read that little slide, it says, "Test day. Soon, very soon. Are you prepared?" And the U is in capital letters. And then on the board it says, "Memorize these facts." She also has class rules here, and then the board is just loaded with facts. And this is a picture of the students who are just repeating what she says in a droning kind of way. Wah, 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 wah. And then outside the school is this character, Jeremy, and he is standing kind of at distance. I tried to play with perspective with this so that it looks like he's looking at the school and he's contemplating going in, because that's what he has to do. Okay, the next page, notice that this teacher is in color. Oh, and on this page, these slides are deliberately uncolored. And I think that you'll see why here in just a minute. But that's a contrast there on purpose. Okay, so this teacher... Oh, this is out of order. I apologize. This is actually not page 3. Oh no, I'm missing a page. Okay, I'm missing a page, so I will make sure that I upload that middle page, because it's a page where Jeremy is walking in and he's handing his schedule to the teacher, and she tells him to take a seat. So I apologize for that, and I will make sure that goes in there. So when he you'll see in the missing page that he is handing his schedule to the consumed teacher. She tells him to take a seat, and he makes a comment that he has seen this kind of teacher before. He's seen her before. And that is to hint, it's more for foreshadowing, and also for a little bit of backstory, if that makes any sense. So when you see that, it'll make more sense, and I'll give an explanation of that one as well. In the background, when he is handing his schedule to the other teacher, this teacher sees him, and she makes a comment that she has some suspicions about him being different. And so then she goes back to her classroom, which is nice and neat. She's got books on her desk. The writing on her board is prettier. It's cursive. It's not this hard lines like in hard print like the other teacher. And so she thinks to herself, perhaps his file will confirm my suspicions, because she suspects that he is more than what she thought he was, not just a droning on student. So she looks at his file, and she sees his name, his previous high school. Actually, it says Freedom High School. And then in entrance interview notes, which is what this says, may have difficulty adjusting to testing culture, may benefit from drill and practice, watch for adversive behavior, i.e., or that is thinking, questioning, and signs of boredom. And then she makes the comment to herself, yes, he is a chosen one. I deliberately said a chosen one and not the chosen one, because I want to imply that there are several students who could be the chosen ones. Okay, then the next slide, we're back in the classroom. The teacher, once again, is still going on about the facts, while the students have the lifeless holes in their faces, which you'll see in my reflection, are meant to imply that they are just soulless, that they are hollow. I make the comment that how can they be reflective? You can't reflect literally or figuratively when you just have empty holes. Sitting in the back of the classroom is our character, Jeremy, and he looks a little bit unhappy there. The quote or the line that he's thinking is, the longer I wait, the more vulnerable I become. Oh, the repetition, droning on and on and on. I need some relief. And so for relief, he reaches into his backpack and he says, ah, my secret weapon. And now for something to think about. Then we go to the next page and he's reading. Now in quotes here is it's a quote from The Cave, which is what he has pulled out of his backpack. I chose The Cave deliberately because it's about becoming enlightened. It uses the idea of light, both literally and figuratively, and being able to see. And since the holes in the eyes are, they can't really see, they're sort of blind. The quote says, and it is the task of the enlightened not only to ascend to learning and to see the good, but to be willing to descend again to those prisoners and to share their troubles and their honors, whether they are worth having or not. And this they must do, even with the prospect of death. And I chose this particular quote because I wanted to convey the idea that he once was like the other students, sort of a victim of the culture, the testing culture, and that he himself had been freed. And so that's the reason why this quote is there, is to imply that it's his job, it's his duty for him to do that. And then he mentions or thinks to himself, my calling, I feel it taking hold of me. So he's new at this. He just came in on this. Now while he's reading, his classmates, they notice him off task, and they begin to sort of rat him out. Now this will make more sense whenever the other page is in there, because one of the rules is to stay on task. Okay, and so here is the consumed teacher, looking very scary, pointing right at him, you. And when they talk, they have the dialogue, when they or the quote bubble, I guess is what you would call it. When they are just thinking, there's no arrow here, or no corner here. Okay, so she screams to him, I warned you. How dare you try to undermine me? If you don't pass the test, I will go down for it. How dare you? Now you will pay. Also, I changed her font and the student's font on purpose because it's a harder font. It's just very I don't know. It's typical. It's not anything special. Whereas with his, it's more unique. It has more like a voice to it. So he holds his book up and he says, how could they see anything but the shadows if they were never allowed to move their heads? And so when he says this, you can see that the eyes are no longer black and that there's just slight color starting to creep into his classmates as they look on in fear and astonishment. Here's the bad teacher. No, it's not raining. It looks like it's raining, but it's not. She's casting down her power on him, on Jeremy, to try to stop him because she's worried about the test. And so this is Jeremy with his book, and he is being knocked to the ground. And to show motion, I did this sort of series of figures. Okay, and then we have there's a noise, and the good teacher wakes up sort of, or she wasn't asleep, but she perks up because she knows that something is wrong and that she better hurry. And so she grabs her 1984 copy of 1984 And I wrote fight the thought police on the one side of it, and then George Orwell this is supposed to be like the other side of it, so that you can see who wrote the book. And then she is off to save or help Jeremy. And she's angry. And then you have the explosion. I'm very proud of my explosion. It turned out really good. Okay, now this is actually difficult to see. When I scanned it, the color, I did it so lightly, you can only see these little gray lines, but this is actually pink. And so this is the teacher that was bad. If it were the enlightened teacher, she would have blonde hair and you would be able to see the color of her clothing. But this is the bad teacher, the consumed teacher. And it's difficult to see if you look very closely. Perhaps if I made it larger, you can see that there is a little bit of color in her face, and even her clothing is starting to change because she was defeated by Jeremy and the other teacher. Okay, so then our last picture is of her. This is Jeremy, and this is the enlightened one, and this is the bad teacher who is starting to get color now at this point. And she says, "I was asleep, unconscious," and that is to tie back in with the quote on the very front of the narrative that says, "Until they become conscious, they will never rebel. And until after they have rebelled, they can never become conscious." And so now she is entering into the rebellion with these two. And Jeremy says to her, "Now do you see the power the test had over you? Take back your gift." And then the enlightened teacher says, "They're yours now. Open their minds. Teach them well." And then this is the classmates at the end with color, and their faces are brighter. Their eyes actually have color, and they're asking thoughtful kinds of questions and making thoughtful statements. I wonder how did that happen? I have an idea. And what about this? And so they're starting to think, and then I end it with what if? So what are the possibilities when we allow students to free up their minds? Okay, well, that takes me to the end, and I have to go back to school where the scanner is to scan in my missing page. I'm so sorry about that. I will put this on YouTube and send you the link, and can't wait to hear your feedback. Thank you.